BattleTech. Sure, I hide it well, but all the same, I'm sure I've tipped you all off on occasion due to my shirts, BattleTech box sets, and Urban Mech body pillow. Fuck you, it's 2021, you're not allowed to judge. I don't say this to brag. For one, because my boundless humility is known far and fucking wide, and for another, bragging about BattleTech is like flexing on your figurine collection. Yes, friends, those fucking figurines. The kind that ought to come with complimentary Windex and spermicide. Sure, you may be the belle of the bukkake ball in your many, many private hours, but when you hit the lights in your ejacularium and your head hits the crusty pillow at night, with it comes a crippling loneliness only the Unabomber and Pittsburgh Pirates fans can understand. So it should say something that despite my boundless boner for BattleTech, I still have to admit MechWarrior 5 sorta kinda sucks.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
Emphasis on the sorta kinda. Look, when you dismount your Fabergé dropship to dunk on some space commie Capellans, autocannons akimbo with deafening heavy metal thundering from your fucking speakers, any dude with a dick will do so with a smile you couldn't pry off with a crowbar. Which is why it's all the more impressive that MechWarrior 5 manages to dig in and do exactly that. Violently, painfully, while working your nads like a speed bag and spitting in your fucking mouth. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries defies you to fucking like it. From an economy so snapped in half you could almost mistake it for hours, to a nigh-perpetual grind so repetitive it makes trance music sound like improvisational jazz fusion. Every single step into the mild blue yonder is followed with a faceplant worthy of the Shockmaster.
Our partner is going to shock the world.
And it all begins with the gameplay. Pick from a roster of battle mechs that might be impressive if they weren't without exception imported from the somehow even more awful MechWarrior Online. Hire half-wit AI or your pot-smoking pals to pilot them, drop onto random planets, break some bullshit, get paid in peanuts, and pay for repairs with butt-fucking Brazil nuts. Lather, rinse, repeat until your epidermis disintegrates. And believe me when I say you will lather, rinse, and repeat, motherfucker. There are literally moments, multiple ones, arguably the lion's share of the goddamn game, in fact, where the narrative will hightail it out of Dodge and you'll be staring square at a notification that reads, "Build up your company's reputation," which roughly translated from shitty Canadian game designer reads, "Don't make any fucking plans." The moment that message sears across the screen, your butt cheeks are bolted to the chair as you drop in contract after coma-inducing contract, desperately attempting to bank C-bills, grab heavier mechs, and physically feel yourself age as your company's reputation meter progresses at the speed of Magic Johnson's HIV. Who paced this shit, Kojima?
Did you like it?
Silly sort that I am, I'm from the delusory corner of reality where side quests are on the fucking side. Piranha made the entire shitsack souffle into one interminable fucking side mission, and then to correct complaints from the fans with the DLC, they dumped in more fucking side missions. Granted, when the main story reads like a cringy conglomeration of tabletop fanfics slapped together with duct tape and Tinker Toys, maybe they were doing us a fucking favor on balance. Hey, can we get yet another BattleTech story where the main character's dad dies, please? I'm not sure we've filled the super tanker just yet, you Kanukistani hacks. Fuck House American Comstar, the most affluent organization in outer space, is a fucking orphanage. Who knew the Inner Sphere was in Detroit? Like the 2018 BattleTech PC game that actually doesn't suck, MechWarrior 5 features a gradually progressing timeline. In theory, an opportunity to experience multiple eras of Inner Sphere politics, offensives, and more infighting than Fleetwood Mac. In practice, it's effectively an excuse to slowly unfurl better battle mechs without any of that pesky game design or logical progression shit, which makes nary a modicum of motherfucking sense given that from 3015 to the conclusion of this cock shit, technology in the Inner Sphere is technically on the butt-fucking backslide. BattleTech's primary contribution to sci-fi is that while Star Trek capital ships get progressively more back the fuck off, bro, as their timeline lumbers forward, centuries of nigh unceasing conflict have left the Inner Sphere's technological base reduced to a smoldering shitpile of Cyberpunk 2077 proportions. The original mech designs of the Catapult and Mad Cat, which include cockpits from World War II bombers, are a deliberate visual acknowledgement that technology has regressed so profoundly fucking far backward, we're literally plundering 20th century design elements to turn into murder bots of the fucking future. Mind you, these visual motifs would be more readily apparent if the new mech designs didn't look like they were all manufactured in the same fucking factory. I mean, sure, at least unlike MWO, these machines are at least somewhat weathered looking, not nearly as much as in BattleTech, but you're almost in danger of having a fucking clue. Not to grow out my big bushy lore beard, but BattleTech robots are supposed to be hundreds of years old, folks, handed down from generation to generation, particularly during the era in which MechWarrior 5 theoretically occurs. So why does half this shit look like it's fresh from the showroom floor? And why do they all have the same shapes, angles, and recurrent design elements exactly? Is this a walking tank or a PlayStation protagonist? Look, I love Anthony Scroggins' art, but the problem with hiring one guy to helm the redesign of an entire franchise is that it looks like it's only one guy redesigning the entire fucking franchise. If I never have to see another mech leg with one of those not quite square shapes with the snipped off kitty corners again, it'll be too fucking soon. Were you raped by a protractor? Why are you enacting a vendetta against round shapes and fucking rectangles? Show us on the doll where 90-degree angles hurt you, Piranha. On the plus side, the soundtrack is metal as merry fuck.
Heavy fucking metal!
The MechWarrior franchise boasts some of the most metalliferous assemblages of audio aggression in the history of video games, and MechWarrior's 5th is thankfully no exception. The spectacular Sean Colton deserves 50 fucking thumbs up for doing what people falsely claim the Doom soundtrack did, only for fucking real this time. The combat, at least in controlled bursts, is a blast. Weightier, more impactful, and infinitely less overbalanced than the Twitch-shooting esports stupid shit show MechWarrior Online. The final result is something that at times actually vaguely resembles a MechWarrior game, but sadly still sports far too many artifacts from its free-to-play 15 remaining players having predecessor. Torso Twist in Battletech lore is described as a fucking event. But don't take my word for it, rifle through the sound files on MechWarrior 3 and 4 and locate the sound of a fucking Torso Twist. You hear that shit, Piranha? Like a backhoe with legs, you leering retards. That's what a torso twist is supposed to sound like. Not a split-second effortless fucking motion, but a loud mechanical cacophony. Something the pilot does with deliberation at the possible expense of positioning and accuracy, might I add. Not flitting about from side to side at the speed of a CNN cancellation, precision-aiming weapons that were described in the fiction as shockingly fucking inaccurate at times. Also, Piranha can market to the esports simians to make an inherently unbalanced Battletech universe generic as a dubstep breakdown. And Piranha's claim that they simply bit off more than they could chew would probably hold more water if the only thing they'd chomped down on prior to release hadn't been communist Chinese cock. Yes, for the 5 single-celled organisms as yet unapprised, Piranha were among the Epic Store's inaugural exclusive acquisitions, which for gamers meant buying a beta test in a fucking miniskirt, and for Piranha meant dump trucks filled with metric fuckloads of Koof engineering concentration camp running Chinese commie cash. The fans were fucking furious, and they let Russ Bullock hear all about it.
But I guess all I can say is that right now there's no plans to make MechWarrior 5 an Epic Store exclusivity, and that's as simply as I can put it. There was no planned announcement date for announcing the Epic Game Store exclusivity. I think there's a lot of misconception out there and a lot of misinformation that going to the Epic Game Store is some type of short-sighted decision, just some sort of like quick, easy money grab type situation that doesn't think of the product or the company or the game in long-term successful ways. I can assure you that that is 100% false from my perspective. Right away, we decided, okay, we're gonna do full refunds. I made it clear that this decision isn't just about the bottom line. It is.
Who knew the tanks at Tiananmen had fucking legs? Which begs the question, 1 year, one publisher buyout and 18 oil tankers of Mao Zedong dollars later, how in the fuck is this game still nowhere near ready for prime time? Fuck, this game ain't ready for paid commercial programming, folks. I mean, you had a year plus to polish this turd, and you kept the cocked up damage ratios that treat every mech like they're made out of sugar glass and the obnoxiously petite tonnage limits? 3 lances of enemies and more vehicle spam than a monster truck rally, and I'm limited to under 200 tons? The fuck do you think I'm piloting, Kate Moss? Pop quiz, kiddos. When a low-end heavy mech, say my old favorite, the Dragon, which mind you can sometimes be cored in all of 3 well-aimed PPC shots, tips the scales at 60 tons, and the overall drop limit is under 200 tons, or 0.5 Amy Schumers, how am I supposed to demolish anything aside from myself in this fleet of bipedal coffins? And woe betide he who dares drop without a living, breathing fucking teammate along for the ride, because even if your teammate's fetal fetal alcohol syndrome suffering AI somehow fails to suicide itself, you'll still spend the gross domestic product of Bahrain replacing the weapons they giddily allowed to be blowed the fuck off. Weaponry which better be gold goddamn plated given the gut-busting repair prices, might I add. Oh, not to worry, Colonel Cuckbag. The blowed the fuck out Fenris you ordered is all patched up. Arms reattached, anus turned right side in. That'll be 9.8 billion C-bills, please. Also, you have to jump to the neighboring star system to complete the repairs. That'll be a mere million on the side, suck-a-bitch. Will you be paying in cash, credit, or bottled albino unicorn tears? Who built this game's economy? Karl Marx, AOC, and the Monopoly Man? If after all of that you still buy the bit off more than we could chew bullshit, you better be more hammered than Bob Vila's left thumb. And this is after numerous delays. Even if we pretend for a moment that Piranha didn't tease a single-player expansion for MWO all the way back in 2017, and ingest enough bleach to brainwash ourselves into believing this game isn't merely the inbred fucking result with a MechWarrior title tacked on top, remember, this game was supposed to launch within mere months of the infinitely superior 2018 BattleTech PC game, and yet didn't turn up in our inboxes till late 2019, and the Steam release, originally alleged to be dropping exactly 1 year later, somehow didn't turn up until May of 2021. This game had more extensions than John Cena's skull, and was equally cucked by the communist Chinese. You didn't bite off more than you could chew. Hell, you didn't bite down at all. You gave a gummy gag job to some comm intern cock for a year and change, and still wound up with a game more smashed than Kamala Harris at Oktoberfest. It's not the ideas you couldn't finish that were fucked up here. It's the ones you fucking did. In an outright repeat of MechWarrior Online, you conceived a shallow, shittily designed grindgasm with more bitch work than a puppy mill, and you pulled it the fuck off. Go, go, Grease Lightning! Unfortunately for you, it just so happens that what you were trying to make was dog shit on roller skates. If Colonel Mustard is trying to bump a bitch off, and he actually does it, that doesn't mean he gets to skip a trip to the clink when they find the candlestick in the fucking conservatory. Piranha didn't make an awesome thing badly. They made a bad thing exactly as they intended. Mission accomplished, G-Dub. Gang, we gave him a shot. Fuck, we gave him 2 shots. It's time to have the talk about ditching Piranha games already. They fucked up MechWarrior Online, an almost impressive feat given that multiplayer BattleTech is one of the games that arguably invented the modern MMO, and to this day, MWO remains only marginally alive thanks to being on Steam and literally fucking free. And now, they've released the first MechWarrior game in history that can be described as even remotely bad. Not awful, enjoyable with friends and in small fucking doses, but utterly unworthy of a world as rich and alive as BattleTech. Compare an MWO and MechWarrior 5 to Harebrained Scheme's superb BattleTech game, it's clear from the final result, the reviews, and certainly the fucking sales, precisely which way the franchise needs to fucking move in. Tactics and role-playing. And given that Microsoft owned damn near every RPG studio worth owning in the West, and they happen to also own the motherfucking MechWarrior IP, I say enough dicking around with the Vancouver JV squad. Get Obsidian, In Exile, whoever the fuck else to finally breathe new life into the franchise with the first bona fide BattleTech RPG since the Crescent Hawk's fucking inception. Could MechWarrior 5 have been worse? Sure, much worse. But BattleTech deserves better than could have been fucking worse. Not even Hideo Kojima can manage to fuck up giant stompy murder robots, so how the hell did Piranha manage it? Canada, don't make me come up there. It was bad enough when you let Denis Villeneuve ruin Blade Runner. If you keep fucking up MechWarrior, I will personally march on Quebec and confiscate your fucking poutine. And maybe a large Coke. Ooh, and mott sticks with a side of marinara. Hey, do you guys have bacon I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
My dad always told me just when things are at their worst, the answer's always right in front of you.
Your father was a very wise man, and so was General Trump.
Any crack?
Konnichiwa, Major Stein.